Later on, Batman goes to meet up with Selina, who has agreed to lead him to Bane. Naturally, on his way to the subway, he decided to make a quick pit stop to strike a pose at the top of this pillar. And what do you know, this lying, manipulative thief ends up deceiving Batman for personal gain. Who could have foreseen this? What ensues is the only goddamn fight scene in this entire movie that makes any sense, because Tom Hardy could whip Christian Bale's ass. However, it's followed up by a sequence that makes absolutely no sense. Apparently, the only thing between the sewer and Wayne Enterprises' priceless military stash is an easily destructible layer of concrete. And there's no security measures to confront Bane's men. Not even a fucking alarm. What the fuck? Blake remains the only person in Gotham capable of doing anything. After tracking down Selina, who is planning to board a plane, this amazing scene happens. Blake stops Selina just before she can board the plane. Luckily, Blake is in possession of just enough plot armor to prevent Selina from ripping his heart from his chest and eating it. The only useful information that comes out of the next minute-long scene is that Selina is scared of Bane, which suggests that despite her cooperation with him, they aren't on great terms. Keep this concept in mind for later. So anyway, Selina is sent to a male prison and we get this amazing scene.
A little closer, baby.
Why, honey? You wanna hold my hand?
I don't even know what just happened.
She's gonna be fine.
Okay, sure, her Mary Sue powers will prevent her from experiencing any serious conflict while in custody, but let's not kid ourselves, this slut will be taking on 2 minute once for a pack of cigarettes. Bruce, meanwhile, has been transported to this remote pit by Bane, because Bane is just a really nice guy who's willing to give his mortal enemies a second chance. Better hope this doesn't come back to bite him just an hour later. With Batman out of the way, Bane commences his takeover of Gotham. Now, I've been neglecting to mention that Wayne Enterprises has been storing this nuclear power reactor in this chamber throughout the entire movie, mainly because, unlike Nolan, I don't want to waste any more of your time than I have to. The woman whom Bruce entrusted to flood the chamber obviously doesn't end up flooding the chamber, and instead gives Bane and his men full access to a nuclear device. I honestly can't remember her name, I'm just gonna call her Dot. Meanwhile, while following a lead, Blake comes across the same man who was blocking the stock exchange during the stock exchange robbery. Blake, being the only character in this movie who has a goddamn clue, is able to defend himself by actually being able to use his gun, a rare skill for someone in Gotham. But get this, after successfully defending himself with his firearm, he acts as if killing his attackers was a bad thing because he wasn't able to question them. Which makes absolutely no sense when you consider the fact that every one of Bane's minions has been shown to be loyal to their grave up until this point. Commissioner Gordon orders every available cop into the sewer to smoke Bane out, which is perfectly timed with a series of explosions that end up trapping the entire patrol underground. All of the bridges are blown up, except for one, which I assume is left standing so supplies can come in. Bane also spares some explosives to blow up Gotham's football stadium, and what I can only assume is his attempt to symbolize destruction of one of Western civilization's favorite pastimes. Bane then proceeds to execute the only person capable of disarming the neutron bomb in front of a massive crowd of citizens, before making a speech further cementing himself as a true democratic socialist.
Now we come here not as conquerors, but as liberators to return control of this city to the people.
Naturally, the US government recognizes realities and agrees to both supply Gotham with supplies and ensure that no one leaves the island under threat of someone detonating the bomb. Now, this is obviously an utterly unenforceable stance. But the movie just keeps going, expecting that not a single person hops on a boat and takes off. Bane makes another speech where he reads Gordon's unread resignation, and takes a few swipes at the criminal justice system.
I believe that about 40% of the people locked up in America right now do not have to be locked up.
Bane orders his minions to storm Blackgate, and naturally none of the guards put up a single bit of resistance. During the ensuing communist overthrow of Gotham, not a single person puts up any resistance. It's pretty retarded. So time passes and winter sets in. Ever since betraying Bruce, Selina has been making sad faces, which I believe are meant to convey that she's conflicted about her choices.
I was just drunk and I remember this is what you wanted.
Such character developing right there. Rather than attempting to remove or cut through any of these sewer grates to free his fellow cops, Blake has been passing them messages. Maybe I showered him with praise a little too soon. It turns out that Blake has been part of an effort to free his fellow officers by blowing a hole in this massive pile of rubble. rather than just cutting open any of these comparatively thin metal grates. I want to quickly give you a little science lesson. You see, in our universe there's this natural phenomenon in which mass or energy are naturally attracted to each other in accordance with the distance between objects. In the vacuum of space, mass can sometimes attract to such a degree that large bodies are formed, and if those bodies get large enough, an atmosphere can form around the more dense centralized mass. In this atmosphere, dihydrogen monoxide can sometimes crystallize into a less dense form called snow that's supposed to fall. More stuff happens in Gotham, but it's entirely unnecessary to the plot, so I'm just gonna skip it. Throughout all this time, Bruce has still been trapped in the pit. I have no idea where in the world the pit actually is, and honestly, the whole concept feels really shallow.
The legend is that there was a mercenary who worked for a local warlord. He fell in love with the warlord's daughter. They were married in secret when the warlord found out. The mercenary was condemned to this pit. But then he exiled him instead. The mercenary understood that was the daughter who had secured his release. But what he could not know was the true price of his freedom. She took his place in the pit. And she was with child. I mean, the mercenary's child.
Yes, you just heard that correctly. The warlord let his daughter and grandchild assume the mercenary's punishments. This is idiotic on so many levels. Why would the warlord let his children, whom he presumably loves, exchange places with a mercenary, whom he presumably hates? What the fuck? On top of that, what mother would choose to let her child suffer in a prison when there was literally any other option? This whole scenario is fucking ridiculous. During all this time, Bruce has been attempting to escape the pit by making one really difficult jump. After getting his back straightened out, he's been engaging in a rigorous exercise routine of push-ups, sit-ups, and pull-ups. Hey, remember the fact that Bruce didn't have any cartilage left in his knee? Chrissy boy sure didn't. After failing his first attempt, Bruce is told a flashback of the child who ended up making the jump. A fucking child made an impossible jump. What the fuck? I don't know if this was intentional or not, but the flashback we're shown shows that the child wasn't wearing a mask upon escaping, and when considered alongside this scene,
Some of the other prisoners attacked Bane. The doctor's fumbling attempts to repair the damage left him in perpetual agony. The mask holds the pain at bay.
it becomes clear to anyone paying close attention, all me of us, that Bane is not the child of Ra's al Ghul. This fact could have avoided being spoiled if the child was wearing a plague mask just like everyone else. But directoring is hard. After another failed attempt, Bruce attempts to make the jump without the rope, and this time he makes it. Now, a friend of mine actually brought up a great point about this scene. This concept could have made perfect sense if the rope was actually designed to catch people just before they could grab the ledge. But no, there's plenty of slack. We're just expected to accept that it makes perfect sense that anyone who believes hard enough can make an impossible jump. Even a fucking child. And I'm pretty sure that's the true message of the movie right there. Remember when Alfred said,
I see the power of belief.
what Alfred, and this movie as a whole, are trying to say is that if you just believe hard enough, you can do the impossible. Why is it that Bane and his men could pull off that ridiculous maneuver at the beginning of the movie? It's because they believed. Why is it that an out-of-shape cripple could scale the side of a hospital? It's because he believed. And now that Bruce knows that all it takes is believing hard enough, he can go and stop Bane.